Trump's EPA is gaslighting America in the face of climate disasters. By the report zone. As climate-fueled disasters intensify, from record floods in Texas to relentless wildfires out west, the Trump administration's Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has adopted a disconcerting playbook: deny, delay, and deregulate. Instead of responding with urgency, the agency is erasing science, stripping protections, and reshaping regulations as if the reality of escalating crises doesn't matter. Deregulation in the midst of disaster. In June 2025, the EPA launched a sweeping regulatory rollback, dubbed its most aggressive deregulation agenda in U.S. history. This blueprint includes eliminating power plant emissions limits, air quality protections, and energy efficiencies central to climate mitigation. The agency downplays the long-term harm caused by pollution, framing greenhouse gases and toxins as economically burdensome rather than existential hazards. Critics warn these rollbacks are a blatant giveaway to polluters, and will lead to the biggest pollution increases in decades. Perhaps most alarming, the EPA is proposing to rescind its foundational 2009 endangerment finding, the legal basis for regulating greenhouse gases under the Clean Air Act. This move would roll back decades of climate and public health protections, ignoring overwhelming scientific consensus, data erasure, and institutional crippling. Even more insidious than regulatory rollback is what the EPA and broader administration have done to scientific transparency. The agency has purged climate-related content from government websites, dismantled research teams, including firing nearly 400 scientists working on the next national climate assessment, and stripped climate references from official messaging. Experts now call it climate erasure, rather than denial. A perfect storm of inaction and funding cuts. At the same time, federal climate resilience agencies, including NOAA, the National Weather Service, and FEMA, are undercut. Staffing vacancies remain unfilled heading into hurricane and wildfire seasons. Many warning coordination roles have vanished, hampering forecast accuracy and emergency communication. Experts say these cuts directly threaten lives during extreme weather events. Real-world consequences. Flooding and fallout. The consequences of this agency inertia are already visible. In July 2025, historic flooding slammed central Texas. While conspiracy theories and misinformation circulated online, climate scientists and policy advocates cited weakened weather infrastructure and underfunded NOAA offices as factors exacerbating the human toll. Without robust federal data, timely forecasts, and coordinated evacuation systems, communities became more vulnerable to disasters many experts warned were likely outcomes of climate change. Gaslighting through policy. Gaslighting is the psychological term often used, minimizing or denying someone's valid perceptions. That's effectively what the EPA is doing, refusing to acknowledge disasters fueled by the very emissions it permits itself to deregulate. By repealing the endangerment finding, it undermines decades of climate law. Deregulation of coal, oil, transportation, and industrial sectors enables increases in carbon, mercury, arsenic, and nitrogen oxide emissions, threats to both climate and public health. Even though scientific bodies repeatedly confirm the risks, the EPA defends reversals as protections against regulatory overreach. Environmental advocates, health experts, and former agency officials are mobilizing lawsuits and public commentary. Over 200 health professionals warned the rollback would be the largest pollution increases in decades. Meanwhile, Earth Justice has sued the EPA to block attempts to bypass Clean Air Act protections and give polluters free passes. Devices like carbon capture and clean power regulations, widely endorsed by scientists, are now being discarded as the administration shifts blame onto economic constraints rather than climate science. Issue impact. Deregulation blitz, removal of emissions limits and public health protections. Endangerment finding, rollback, legal basis for all greenhouse regulation at stake. Data purges, loss of climate assessments, scientific context, and public trust. Cuts to disaster agencies, NOAA, FEMA, NWS staffing reductions undermine crisis readiness. Ongoing climate disasters, floods, wildfires, storms challenge weakened federal response. Final thoughts. In an era marked by heat waves, flooding, wildfires, and extreme weather, the EPA's retreat from science and policy responsibility is not just reckless, it borders on gaslighting. When institutions permit damage and then deny its cause, they break public trust and deepen disaster vulnerability. Though innovation and climate solutions may still emerge from private or local actors, federal leadership matters, especially in disasters that cross borders and surpass budgets. Ignoring climate truth is not neutrality. It's a risk that spares nobody. Stay tuned to the Report Zone for updates on the EPA's proposals, public responses, and the legal battles shaping America's climate reality. Thank you.